Landman's newest divisive character, Ashley, Ainsley's roommate, feels like one of those additions that exists more out of obligation than inspiration, and the more the show leans into her presence, the more unnecessary she starts to feel. On paper, Ashley should work. She's positioned as a contrast to Ainsley, a source of tension, and a way to explore Ainsley's transition into college life. In execution, though, she comes across as thinly written, oddly exaggerated, and ultimately disconnected from what Landman actually does best. The biggest issue with Ashley is that she doesn't feel like a real person so much as a bundle of traits designed to provoke irritation. From the start, her characterization relies heavily on surface-level conflict. She's dismissive, entitled, passive-aggressive, and often unreasonable for the sake of being unreasonable. There's very little curiosity about who she is beyond that. She's not given depth, vulnerability, or even a consistent internal logic. She exists to be the problem roommate, and that's it. This wouldn't be such a glaring flaw if Landman hadn't already proven it can write complex, flawed, but human secondary characters. The show excels when it allows tension to arise naturally from competing values, pressures, and survival instincts. Ashley, by contrast, feels manufactured. Her behavior doesn't grow out of circumstance or personal stakes. It feels imposed by the script to generate low-effort drama. What makes her inclusion even more frustrating is how disconnected her storyline feels from the core themes of the series. Landman is, at its heart, a show about power, responsibility, risk, and the personal cost of industries and decisions that are bigger than any one person. Even its family drama usually reflects those ideas in some way. Ashley's presence doesn't echo any of that. Her conflict with Ainsley doesn't parallel M-Tex's struggles, generational tension, or moral compromise. It just sits there, isolated, like it wandered in from a completely different show. Ainsley's college arc could have been a meaningful extension of the series' themes. College represents independence, exposure to new ideas, and the first real separation from family influence. That transition alone carries plenty of narrative weight. Instead of leaning into that, the show funnels much of Ainsley's screen time into roommate squabbles that feel petty and repetitive. Ashley becomes a distraction rather than a vehicle for growth. Another problem is how one-note the conflict is. Every interaction between Ainsley and Ashley hits the same beat. Ashley does something inconsiderate, Ainsley reacts, and the tension resets without evolving. There's no escalation that reveals new information, no reversal that challenges the audience's assumptions, and no emotional payoff. It's conflict without progression, which is especially glaring in a season already struggling with focus. Ashley also highlights an ongoing tonal issue in Landman Season 2. The show frequently oscillates between grounded realism and heightened, almost sitcom-style exaggeration. Ashley leans hard toward the latter. Her behavior often feels implausible in a way that breaks immersion. Instead of feeling like a realistic college student navigating shared space, she feels like a narrative device designed to needle both Ainsley and the audience. This is where the Uninspired label really sticks. There's nothing about Ashley that feels specific. She isn't shaped by a clear background, belief system, or motivation. She's not a foil in a meaningful way. She doesn't challenge Ainsley's worldview or force her to grow emotionally. She simply irritates her. And irritation alone isn't character development. Compare this to how Landman handled Ariana earlier in the series. Ariana's arc worked because her struggles felt rooted in trauma, fear, and resilience. Even when viewers disagreed with her choices, they understood them. Ashley doesn't get that treatment. The show doesn't ask us to understand her, only to endure her. There's also a missed opportunity in terms of generational storytelling. Ainsley represents a younger generation grappling with the consequences of the world built by characters like Tommy and Cami. A roommate could have embodied different values, anxieties, or political perspectives that meaningfully clashed with Ainsley's upbringing. Instead, Ashley's conflicts stay shallow and personal, never expanding into something larger or more relevant. Worse still, Ashley inadvertently weakens Ainsley as a character. Rather than allowing Ainsley to make proactive choices or face complex dilemmas, the storyline often reduces her to reacting. She becomes defensive instead of evolving. Over time, this flattens her arc and makes her scenes feel repetitive, even though Ainsley herself has the potential to be one of the show's more interesting younger characters. The timing of Ashley's introduction also works against her. Season 2 is already packed with high-stakes corporate maneuvering, leadership fallout, and looming financial and environmental risks. Introducing a low-impact character with a low-impact storyline at this point feels like narrative clutter. Every minute spent on Ashley is a minute not spent deepening the conflicts that actually drive the show. What's perhaps most telling is how little would change if Ashley were removed entirely. Ainsley could still struggle with independence. She could still feel isolated, overwhelmed, or conflicted about her future. None of those beats require Ashley specifically. That's the clear sign of an unnecessary character. The story doesn't collapse without them. To be fair, this doesn't mean Ashley can't be salvaged. If the show chose to invest in her as a fully realized character, giving her a perspective that genuinely challenges Ainsley, tying her worldview into the show's broader themes, she could still serve a purpose. But as it stands now, Landman doesn't seem interested in doing that work. Instead, Ashley feels like filler at a time when the series can least afford it. Season 2 has already been criticized for losing focus, and Ashley's subplot reinforces that criticism. She's not adding texture or tension in a meaningful way. She's just noise. Ultimately, Landman's divisive new character isn't controversial because she's bold or complex. She's divisive because she feels lazy. In a show capable of sharp writing and layered drama, Ashley stands out as a reminder of what happens when character creation becomes a checkbox instead of a craft. If Landman wants Ainsley's college storyline to matter, it needs to move beyond Ashley or radically rethink her. Otherwise, she'll remain exactly what she currently is: uninspired, unnecessary, and emblematic of a season that sometimes forgets what made the show compelling in the first place.